how to not let work stress you out at home or just even in general. We're going to go through 6 specific steps. When we can live life on our terms, on a holistic level, taking into account not just our business lives, but also our health, all of our relationships, from friends, family, to our partners, the world changes. All right. So first off, congratulations for checking it out. I'm guessing you're feeling a little stressed at work. And the reality is that I think it's more of a stressful environment than ever. So many businesses have allowed their entire workforce to get into this reactionary shit show instead of transitioning to a proactive state. So I've had the good fortune to work with leadership teams, individuals, and CEOs around the world for over 30 years. Very, very fortunate to be doing this, and it's a common theme. And one of the first things that we always talk about is how can we help people transition from that reactive state to a proactive state? And what I mean by that is stress traditionally comes and it just gets thrown at us and like thrown, and we're reacting, we're trying to do this, it's like, no, we need to slow down, take a breath, and figure out where do we want to go? How do we want to transition to that proactive direction of where we want to be? So the first thing is to understand and embrace that likely we're in a reactive state, and as such, how can we take a breath and figure out how do we want to get to a proactive state, and what does that even look like? So the first thing is to visualize what that would look like. Pretty simple, but it's important. Now the second piece is to remember that as human beings are the only animals on the planet that can actually think themselves into a fight or flight mode. What I mean by this is if you see a deer is out in the woods. I live at 10,000 feet in Colorado. If you see a deer out in the woods and there's a mountain lion, and the deer's like, oh crap, and that deer just goes into total adrenaline dump, fight or flight mode, and it'll run away. And the deer gets away successfully. 10, 15 minutes later, that's all going to just naturally disappear. But human beings, excuse me, we have the ability to actually think ourselves into that fight or flight mode. It could be 2 a.m, you'd be cuddled up next to your beautiful person and actually wind yourself up to that stress level. So this is where being able to take that breath and think about what does amazing look like? How can we transition to thinking about what is that proactive state that we want to be in is going to be the first step. The second is going to be to embrace that you're the primary asset. And what I mean by this is that whether it be in your family, your partner, your workspace, whatever those things are, for them, for you, you are one of the primary assets of the organization. And that organization could be your family. But as such, I see over and over and over, and unfortunately I see this more with my female leaders, where they feel like they have to do it all, and they're the ones who get taken out. They keep giving away more and more of themselves. It starts impacting their sleep. It starts impacting their self-esteem, saying, oh, I'm not doing a good job or with this or that. And realizing that what you really need to do is focus on protecting yourself in a lot of ways. Now, in some ways this sounds, well, it's about being selfish and I don't want to do that. Well, maybe you do. Maybe actually you let go of some of those other things and say, no, what are the things I absolutely have to do? But then also making sure that you're getting your sleep, that you're doing your exercise, that you're having your own quiet time. Now you may look at me like, dude, you have no concept. I don't have any time. Actually, I'm guessing that you do. It's a matter of reframing it and deciding where and how you want to focus on it. The third piece is making sure that once you embrace that you are the asset, the third piece then is to, what is it you can define as how can you protect the asset? Once you embrace, okay, I need to transition from a reactive state. I want to figure out where we want to go. What's it look like? Okay. I'm one of the primary assets of the company, organization, the family, and as such, I need to make sure that the decisions I'm making, that the energy I'm focusing is in the right places, they're the right decisions and the right focus. So this is where figuring out, and I invest a lot of time and energy with the peer groups I work with and with the individuals, and helping people understand that, no, actually doing simple things like leaving your phone in another room so that you sleep a little bit better. Making sure that you get up and go for a walk, even if it's for 15 minutes, to get your head on straight. Start thinking about what are those priorities that you want to build as you go through in the future or for the day. Making sure you do a little bit of exercise. I have some CEOs that I work with that fought me hard on this for years, but then eventually they came around and I'm still coaching with them, and they're like, they will admit that one of the biggest competitive advantage for them is a healthy good night's sleep. When you're fully rested, you're going to make better decisions, you're going to be less reactionary, you're going to be able to look at things in a different light. So this is one of those areas that will actually dramatically start to impact your stress and help you in a positive way. I know for me, from an exercise perspective, if I don't get out and ride my bike for 30 to 50 minutes or an hour a day, I'm not necessarily as good as I could be. I'm not as present for my clients and for the people I'm working with. Now, in that quiet time, when I'm out riding, I'm also processing, I'm letting my subconscious run rampant. And there's all sorts of ideas and new ideas for clients and even for myself that come up that really help achieve that. So the fourth thing, and this is a little one, but it's one that we really suck at for the most part. And it's actually where I believe we have the greatest opportunity to create more time, is to get more out of the time we're focusing on. And what I mean specifically is being present. I believe that the number one gift we can give anyone, including ourselves, is to be 100% present. This can be with your employees, this can be with your boss, this can be with your spouse, your kids, whatever it may be. But when we're ultra present, when we're really there, it takes a little bit more energy, but you're gonna have to tell people something once, or you may only have to hear it once, or you're gonna be able to clearly understand really what is the issue or challenge that's being presented to you, rather than just trying to do it on a surface level. If you think you can multitask, I'm gonna call bullshit on that. Every study on the planet suggests that multitasking is a myth, and actually it's counterproductive to what we're trying to do. So when we're in that area that we're not being present, and we're trying to do two things, it's like, I'm working on something. Well, even if I'm not looking at the camera now, people get annoyed. It's like, well, but that person isn't there. So imagine you're looking at your phone, oh yeah, oh got it, yeah, good for you, yeah. Nobody's listening. You're not doing anything well at that time. So it's better to say, what are the areas that I really need to be focusing on, and be laser focused when you're focused on it. So then the fourth thing is, when you're doing this part of the being present, is to start being absolutely ruthless in how you're choosing to manage your time. So most of us, when we're in that reactive state, are getting shit thrown at us all day long. Boom, 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 meetings, boom, 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 calls, emails, boom, phones. And as a result, we suck at doing everything. I believe you can actually almost bend time when you say, no, I'm gonna go all in on this. I'm gonna turn all my devices off except for, or into airplane mode, and I'm only gonna do emails, and I'm gonna do them 3 times a day. I'm going to be very intentional with it. I'm gonna do it in the morning, I'm gonna do it around lunchtime, and then towards the end of the day. The rest of the time, I'm gonna be focused on whatever it is I'm doing. If you're playing, unicorn fun time with your 4-year-old, I would so much rather you invest 10 minutes being 100% present. Put your phone in a drawer when you come home. Set the boundaries around that. Sit down and be present with that person, with that child. The child is gonna soak all that up. But I promise you, even a 4-year-old will call bullshit if you're sitting there looking at your phone trying to do work at the same time and play. You're not. That's a small example, but I've seen it over and over and over, how impactful that can be to help people with it. So figuring out how you can be proactive in that and managing your time. So if it's like, no, I'm gonna go to bed by a certain time, period. Okay, go to bed at that certain time. And we'll talk about letting stuff go at the very end. That's the last piece. But understanding that we can't do it all sometimes. So we have to figure out what are the areas that we absolutely have to go. I like to call it highest and best use. Is this our highest and best use? I would say sleeping is. I would say exercise, walk, being present with family, friends. Those are very, very important for you to be great at work. Then when you're at work, model those same behaviors. And if you feel that people are constantly barraging you, say, no. Let's set up some parameters. Let's set up some guardrails. Let's set up some boundaries and say, these are the boundaries and this is why. and then start building that. Now, understand that most managers suck at this. They're terrible at it. And this may be a place where you actually have to manage up to help manage them to be stronger at what they're doing so they understand it better. All right, the fifth thing then is going to be learning how to say no more. This actually will make you more effective, and it'll make you actually more of a giver by saying no more. There's a quote that Warren Buffett says that successful people are good at saying no. Really, really, really successful people are really, really, really good at saying no. The basic parameters of how I outline this are things that I absolutely have to do, things that I probably should do, and things that would be nice to do. If you can have those parameters and those, use that as a rubric on when you test it, it's like, all right, this meeting, do I absolutely have to be at this meeting? Am I going to get fired if I don't go to this meeting? If the answer is no, then maybe it isn't highest and best use of your time. If it's like, well, I'm supposed to, but I need to talk something, maybe you start challenging that. If it's like, well, I should do this because it'll help me stay proactive in these other things, fine. It's like, well, be nice to do, but I don't really have to. And then if there's others that don't even fit with those three, you're losing control of things. But make sure that you're transitioning from reactive to proactive. How can you put more intention around that? And stay focused on the areas that you should be focusing on. It's like when I'm coaching an entrepreneur and they want to do 87 things. It's like, okay, got it. But what is the one or two that are no-brainers? It's like, God, I'd be an idiot if I don't do these. Start there. And then start saying no to the other things. All right, and then the last thing, and this can be hard, and again, I've seen this especially, and it's a little sexist, but it's genuine with a lot of the moms in the space that are both leaders and moms. And they're like, oh, I don't want to, I got to make sure the house looks nice, and I got to do all this other stuff. And I'm like, but the question is who says you have to make the house look nice? The dishes stay in the sink for a night? Who cares? I would rather you leave a pile full of dishes in the damn sink and get a really good night's sleep and then wake up in the morning and hit it. Or ask the kids to do it. And if they don't do it the way you want it, but it's done, screw it. It's a matter of figuring out what are those things that we absolutely have to do. But then also letting other stuff go. If you try and do everything for everybody, the one guarantee is you're going to do a bad job. I don't care who you are. But the more you can say, no, I'm not going to focus on those. I'm going to focus on these. And I'm going to do it really, really well. It'll have a positive, very, very solid impact. All right, so these 6 things again. Number 1, embrace the idea that you need to transition from a reactive to a proactive state. Second, embrace that you genuinely are the primary asset and give yourself permission to make sure that you protect that asset. Third thing is protecting that asset. How you manage your sleep, how you manage your health, how you say no. Where are those things? What are those things that are really stressing you out? How do you address those? The fourth thing is making sure that you're present and ruthlessly accountable with your time. How do you manage that time incredibly well? If you can stay in a state of flow, dive deep into something for 15 to 20 minutes, you will get more done than you would in 2 hours. The last thing, or fifth thing, is making sure you say no more. What are those areas that you absolutely have to do? What are those no-brainers? I'd be like, I have to do these, no question. You should do these. I'll get most of those done. Let the other ones go. That'd be nice. Maybe you don't have time at this point. Let them go. And then lastly, embrace that if you try and do everything, you're not going to do a great job. So understanding that you're going to have to let some dumpster fires burn. Sometimes things are going to happen. Maybe the house is a little bit of a mess. Who cares? But how you embrace those things all comes back to the mindset that's going to allow you to shift. So you learn how not to let work stress you out at home and just in general. So hopefully you found some value. If you did, you're welcome to reach out. Go to lifeon-yourterms.com. We got a bunch of tools that can help you with this stuff. And if you have any questions, please let us know. Subscribe, check out some of the other videos. Right on. Keep smiling.